Quaid Azam, Part 198. Hindu became a world of communal identification, and almost always as that faith, belief, or practice which unwaveringly contested the merit-worthy idea of secularism. A direct Western contextual meaning could just not be, perhaps would not be elaborated by political scientists, sociologists, or other activists of India, for they found that it could not be correctly applied to the Indians. The Indian societal fabric, for example, T. N. Madan, it appears incompatible with the Indian religion traditions. Partha Chatterjee thinks that the secularism as an ideology cannot come to terms with majoritarian communalism. This is a curious euphemism, but routine for left-leaning thinking to adopt, the implied deduction being that minority communalism would be more acceptable and could still qualify for being termed as secular, or nearly so. There are some that suggest that India is a Hindu in nature. It can be truly secular. Herein lies a very great misconception, principally about the essence of this Hindu or Sanaram thought. Post-partition secularism as political thought platform or an ideology has been widely and variously interpreted. Some equate it to a kind of a vague tolerance, thus allowing space for religion in political life, while Gandhi unhesitatingly used the religious idioms, indeed religion itself, to assert equality. Others like Jawaharlal Nehru held to secularism as a tenet of the state which ought to remain divorced from religion. Though of course elements of the mild Nehruvian celebration of India's Hindu culture were allowed to mingle with that notion. This interpretation was falsely and unparochially applied, as it had their Congress, whatever it did, alone was secular and was always so. I beg your pardon, please, and none other. These other positions, secularism as being synonymous with the Indian idea of Sarva Dharma Sambhava, where all religion beliefs are in harmony. This is modified to replace dharma with the word panth, a more accurate way to convey a sense. There are those who assert that what the West has lately arrived at as secularism, India has long had as living philosophical traditions going back many millennia, implying thereby that the Muslim community was and is responsible for communal antagonisms. After 1937 elections, where it had contested very few Muslim seats and had been routed even in these, Congress still continued to see itself as national party because of it now switched emphasis on its own assumed secularism. This then became substitute for Muslim support. This was really spurious reasoning simply because the party called itself secular, therefore it was national, and because of this self-adopted nomenclature of national, and it was automatically representative of all Indians regardless of what the election results demonstrated, does not carry any conviction. This idea of secularism, just the idea, not the fact, thereafter became more important than the empirical reality.